This is the Everyday AI Show, the everyday podcast where we simplify AI and bring its power to your fingertips. Listen daily for practical advice to boost your career, business, and everyday life.
This podcast is supported by Google. Hey everyone, David here, one of the product leads for Google Gemini. If you dream it and describe it, VO3 in Gemini can help you bring it to life as a video. Now with incredible sound effects, background noise, and even dialogue. Try it with the Google AI Pro plan or get the highest access with the Ultra plan. Sign up at gemini.google to get started and show us what you create.
Apparently, multiple people are turning down $100 million plus annual salaries in AI. Everyone's trying to acquire Perplexity. Microsoft is reportedly laying off thousands of more employees due to AI and is using ChatGPT, causing brain rot. A lot of big news stories this week in the AI world. Don't spend hours every single day trying to figure out what this means for your company and your career. Instead, I don't know, spend the next 30-ish minutes with us as we bring you the AI news that matters. What's going on, y'all? My name's Jordan Wilson, and welcome to Everyday AI. This is your daily live stream podcast and free daily newsletter helping everyday people like you and me not just keep up with AI, but help us all get ahead and grow our companies and our careers. So if that's what you're trying to do, you are in the right place. Almost every single Monday, we do our AI news that matters. That is our weekly segment to where if you, I don't know, had actual work to do this week and couldn't keep up with everything that's new in the world of AI, you can stop by on Mondays to get the latest and the greatest, and also to cut through the marketing and the BS so you know what to actually focus on when it comes to AI. So thank you for tuning in. Please go to youreverydayai.com, sign up for the free daily newsletter. Once you're there, we recap each day's episode, and you can go also listen to now more than 540 back episodes sorted by category. So no matter what you're trying to learn, what sector you're in, we've already talked to the world's leading experts, and you can go learn for free on our website. All right, without further ado, let's get into the AI news that matters for this week. And hey, shout out live stream audience. Keith, thanks for joining on the YouTube machine. Brian and Marie and Gordon, Cecilia, Kobe, everyone else joining on LinkedIn. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get to the AI news, shall we? A lot this week. My gosh. First, would you turn down $100 million plus annual contract? Apparently, people are actually turning this down. All right, so we've got some new reporting on the AI talent war as Meta is reportedly offering signing bonuses of up to $100 million to lure top employees from OpenAI, according to reports. So Meta's CTO, Andrew Bosworth, confirmed that OpenAI, though, has countered these offers, highlighting that compensation rates for elite AI talent are now unprecedented, at least in his 20-year tech career. So this kind of started as OpenAI CEO Sam Altman made the podcast rounds this week, talking about a variety of things from GPT-5, OpenAI's recent advancements, and just the competitive nature of the AI landscape. So now we had Meta's CTO respond and essentially say, yeah, this happened, but OpenAI is actually matching our offers, is what they're saying. So it's a particularly interesting time for Meta as they're making some massive investments, and more on that later. But that includes their recent $14 billion acqui-hire for Scale AI, where they took a 49% stake in the existing company, as well as bringing some of their key leadership team, including co-founder Alexander Wang, to lead Meta's new super intelligence team. So aside from that, Meta apparently also is looking or looked to acquire Safe Superintelligence, the startup from former OpenAI co-founder Ilya Sutskever, but instead is hiring its CEO, Daniel Gross, and former GitHub CEO, Nat Friedman. So pretty big news there. So Meta trying to assemble the AI dream team. They were trying to actually acquire SSI, which is Ilya Sutskever's company, and instead reportedly has attracted its CEO, Daniel Gross. So pretty big news there. And that isn't all that Meta was trying to acquire this past week. Reportedly, they also tried to acquire Perplexity AI. And that's not the only company trying to acquire Perplexity this week, according to reports. My gosh, like this whole like Meta aqua hiring or acquiring Scale AI has set off a firestorm of not just these $100 million annual AI contracts, but also just trying to straight up either acquire companies. And then when they can't acquire the companies, they're like, all right, let's just take their, all their smartest people. So it is the friggin' Wild West, at least when it comes to the AI talent wars. Marie said $100 million for 100 million hours of work per week. Yeah, I don't know, but I've always joked around that like, over the last couple of years that, if you're working in some of these big AI labs now, you're looking at like NBA salaries. This is beyond NBA salaries. This is legit bonkers that we're talking about, reportedly people turning down $100 million plus annual offers. Absolutely bonkers. Bosworth, Meta's CTO, emphasized that Meta's vision of a future where super intelligent AI supports humans in daily life, and said the company is backing this vision with both massive capital investments and aggressive hiring. Yeah, aggressive to say the least. So if you wrote Meta off, or if you kind of haven't been paying attention to Meta in the AI race, Meta's essentially saying, we have money and we are going to spend it and we are going to remain relevant in the AI race. I think their Llama 4 model did not really get a lot of attention. It didn't benchmark as well as a lot of people were thinking. So it looks like Meta is going back to the drawing board. And by going back to the drawing board, apparently that means spending billions of dollars on either acquisitions or just acquiring the top AI talent. So it should be interesting to see how that shapes out in the coming months and years with their expanded roster. So, wow, big news there. All right. Another story really making the rounds. Does using ChatGPT to write for you cause your brain to rot? According to a recent MIT study, kind of. So a new preprint study from MIT's Media Lab found that using ChatGPT to write SAT-style essays led to the lowest brain engagement and weakest essay quality among the 3 different groups that they tested. So this study monitored 54 participants between the ages of 18 and 39 using EEGs while they wrote essays with ChatGPT, Google search, or no digital aid. So those were the 3 different groups: ChatGPT, using Google, and just not using the internet. So among the 3 groups, ChatGPT users showed the lowest neural activity while writing, especially in regions tied to creativity and memory. And their essays were described by English teachers as quote unquote soulless and lacking originality. So over several months, ChatGPT users grew increasingly reliant on copy and paste, with many resorting to having the tool write almost the entire essay by the end of the study. Oh, weird. That sounds like the current, U.S. higher education system. But participants who wrote essays without AI showed the highest brain connectivity, deeper memory integration, and greatest satisfaction and ownership of their work. The Google search group also maintained high engagement and satisfaction, according to the study, suggesting that searching for information does not diminish cognitive efforts like LLMs might. So when ChatGPT users were later asked to rewrite an essay without the tool, they struggled to recall their own work and showed even lower brainwave activity. So MIT released the findings before peer review, citing urgent concerns about the impact of large language models on developing brains and potential policy changes in education. So the study's small sample size, though, and preprint status mean that results are preliminary, but it adds to a growing debate about AI's effects on motivation, learning, workplace skills, and education. So, according to MIT's Media Lab, ongoing research is now examining the impact of AI tools on software engineering, with early results suggesting even worse outcomes for critical thinking and creativity. So, I don't have my Hot Take Tuesday show planned yet, but I don't know. Live stream audience, is this something you'd want to hear? I've got takes on this. I've got takes on this actual study, as well as what this means for the future of education, the future of work. Not surprising, but I don't know. I feel I have a lot of thoughts on this that I haven't really shared much. Like I actually went and looked on the website when this story came out. I think I've only talked about this like once over the course of 500 plus episodes. So I don't know. If you want to hear my hot take on this, I don't know. Just say brain rot or something in the live comments. So I know. Maybe not. All right. Let's keep it going. Speaking of large dollar amounts, how about a $200 million contract for OpenAI with the Department of Defense? So OpenAI has secured a $200 million contract with the U.S. Department of Defense to develop prototype frontier AI capabilities, according to new reports. So the pilot program is part of the new OpenAI for Government initiative, and it will run for 1 year and aims to integrate AI across federal, state, and local agencies. So the partnership will focus on tasks ranging from automating administrative operations to analyzing program data and supporting proactive cyber defense efforts. So OpenAI's models will be offered in secure, compliant environments with custom AI tools developed specifically for national security purposes. The contract marks a pretty significant step toward broader adoption of AI in government, potentially impacting how agencies safeguard sensitive data and make decisions. I don't know. Hopefully that whole brain rot thing won't, creep over into the U.S. government's use of AI, although I wouldn't be surprised. This move follows the January launch of ChatGPT Gov, which allows government employees to use OpenAI as models while meeting security requirements. So OpenAI already partners with several government agencies, including the Air Force Research Laboratory, NASA, the National Institutes of Health, and the Treasury Department, all of which will now be part of the OpenAI for Government program. The deal builds on OpenAI's previous work with defense contractor Indorol, focusing on AI-powered defense systems to protect against threats like unmanned drones. So privacy and safety concerns remain, especially as AI tools may handle personal or sensitive information. OpenAI's policies prohibit uses like unauthorized facial recognition or biometric tracking for law enforcement. So we'll see if the government version of ChatGPT has the same kind of day-to-day regulations or rules that the rest of society uses. But y'all, if your company is not using an AI operating system, right? Like Microsoft Copilot, like Google Gemini, like ChatGPT, because you're like, this whole, data thing, we're not sure. If you're still saying that in 2025, I mean, I would have said this a year ago, but literally, if your company has not already gone all in on using an AI operating system, I've talked about what that is on the show before, right? That's not just when a few employees are using AI, but when your entire company has access to an AI tool with your company's data. If you're not already there, let me be honest, you are absolutely screwed. You are absolutely screwed. Your company, I'm saying this now, you are fighting an uphill battle. If you have not already by this point gone all in on AI, it's like blocking the internet. So, now even the government, right, from top to bottom is rolling out AI. And you would think or hope or assume that the government has some of the most critical data that any company holds, right? Whether you're talking about financial institutions, health institutions, etc. So if your company has not gone fully all in on AI, and if you're still just in this pilot phase or, oh yeah, like we're using it in some aspects of our business, but not many, yeah, you're just hoping to be overtaken by your competitors. All right. Our next piece of AI news. Google has launched and, well, I guess is launching a slow rollout of its voice-based search live in AI mode. So Google is rolling out the audio talk and listen version of Search Live to let users who opt into it in new AI mode experiment in the Google app. This new feature allows users to have a natural back and forth voice conversation with Google Search, making it easier to ask follow-up questions and explore results in real time. So unlike the camera-based Search Live that was demoed at Google I/O, which lets users show Google what they're seeing, this version of AI mode release focuses on voice interaction only. So the visual version is expected to arrive in the coming months, although now this voice-based Search Live is rolling out. So here's how it works. Essentially, users can interact hands-free and talk to AI mode in Google Search. But if you look at your phone during the conversation, you essentially see the different search results that would be used to give you the answers that you're talking about. So let's say that you're using AI mode to look how to fix something, right? Oh, your dryer's not working, right? So if you ask an initial question, again, you're using your voice. It's like talking to, one of these live AIs, and you're getting responses back in real time. But instead of it just kind of like showing like a voice dialogue or a voice kind of image on the screen, you're seeing a rotating view of the different articles or websites that it's using. So let's say you're going back and forth and you have 3 different iterations of trying to fix your dryer. You're like, hey, I have this type of dryer. What's going on? It might pull up, 3 to 5 articles, and it's talking to you, and you can kind of swipe through, and then you can keep talking to it. So you don't have to re-explain your query, right? Like you have to do with Siri and Amazon. So you can just keep having a natural conversation and keep digging deeper into whatever you're trying to research or whatever you're trying to find out. And then as you ask your next set of follow-up questions, obviously then the links or the articles will then update in real time. So if you do want to read more about a certain topic, you can then click on that. But otherwise, it's literally like having an iterative voice conversation with the internet, right? And constantly then being able to, if you want to, dive a little bit deeper into results. All right. Our next piece of AI news, Google kind of quietly got super official with Gemini 2.5. So Google has officially moved its most advanced Gemini 2.5 AI models from preview to full production, signaling readiness for mission-critical business use. So Google has also introduced a new lighter weight version of its Gemini 2.5 mode with Gemini 2.5 Flash Lite, a new ultra-efficient AI model aimed at high-volume, cost-sensitive tasks, undercutting competitors on both price and speed. So this marks Google's most aggressive push yet to rival OpenAI's stranglehold in enterprise AI, offering a 3-tiered suite of models that target everything from advanced reasoning to basic automation. So Gemini 2.5 Pro can process up to 1 million tokens of context. That's one of the biggest differentiators. That's about 750,000 words, enabling analysis of entire code bases or lengthy documents in a single session. So Google's AI models also feature a unique thinking budget, letting developers on the back end control how much computational efforts the AI spends on each problem, so you can better balance speed, accuracy, and cost. So you might be wondering, like, okay, what does this mean? Right? We've already seen Gemini 2.5 Pro get updated 3 times since it came out. So what does this matter? This kind of going general availability. Essentially, what that means is Google is saying this model is stable. It is not experimental. And they did say, they kind of hosted a live discussion right after this. They did say that they would be offering official support for these models for at least 1 full calendar year. So sometimes, big AI companies will release a model and they might say, oh, this is more of a beta model, and they might pull it off the shelf, maybe weeks or months later. As an example, OpenAI just did that with their GPT 4.5 on the API side. So essentially, this is Google saying, we are very official with this model. It is stable. We are rolling it out for general at least. So inviting developers to come and build on this model, because they will be offering official support and updates for it for at least 1 year, right? So what they're saying is, hey, in 3 months, we're not going to come out with a Gemini 3.0 that's going to be our main model. They might in the next couple of months, but this would signal to me that Google is really going to stay steady in its 2.5 Pro supports. All right, let's take a very quick break for a word from our sponsors.
This podcast is supported by Google. Hey everyone, David here, one of the product leads for Google Gemini. Check out VO3, our state-of-the-art AI video generation model, in the Gemini app, which lets you create high-quality, 8-second videos with native audio generation. Try it with the Google AI Pro plan or get the highest access with the Ultra plan. Sign up at gemini.google to get started and show us what you create. This podcast is supported by Google. Hey everyone, David here, one of the product leads for Google Gemini. Check out VO3, our state-of-the-art AI video generation model, in the Gemini app, which lets you create high-quality, 8-second videos with native audio generation. Try it with the Google AI Pro plan or get the highest access with the Ultra plan. Sign up at gemini.google to get started and show us what you create.
All right, let's keep this thing going. So we've talked about millions and billions. Let's talk about trillion, because that is apparently what SoftBank is eyeing when it comes to a new potential robotics hub in Arizona. So SoftBank is reportedly considering a $1 trillion capital investment in an industrial complex in Arizona focused on robotics and AI, according to reports. So if realized, this would be the largest tech manufacturing investment in U.S. history, aiming to rival China's Shenzhen as a global manufacturing powerhouse. So SoftBank is seeking to involve Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, or TSMC, in the project, which is a global leader in AI chip manufacturing, though TSMC's level of interest and potential role remain unclear. So the initiative is codenamed Project Crystal Land. What a fun name for a $1 trillion project. It sounds like a music festival, doesn't it? Project Crystal Land. So the initiative is still in its early planning stages and depends on support from both federal government and state officials, especially under a possible Trump administration. So SoftBank officials have reportedly discussed possible tax incentives with the U.S. Commerce Secretary and other government representatives. TSMC is already investing $165 billion to build chip factories in the U.S., but it is uncertain if they will join this new venture. SoftBank is also gauging interest from other major tech players, including Samsung Electronics. The proposed $1 trillion commitment dwarfs even the $500 billion Stargate project, which is focused on expanding U.S. data centers and is backed by SoftBank themselves, as well as OpenAI, Oracle, and others. In recent months, SoftBank has really plastered its name in the global AI scene as it's made several high-profile investments, including a $6.5 billion acquisition of Ampere and a commitment of up to $40 billion in new funding for OpenAI, as well as its very prominent stake in that Stargate project. So, my gosh, like a year ago, at least when it came to global AI players, no one was really talking about SoftBank. Now, when you're talking about the future of AI, you can't not mention them, right? Let alone this didn't even include their official new company that they started with OpenAI in, I believe it was Japan. So pretty big news. And officially, this, like I said, this would already be, if it comes to fruition, the largest tech manufacturing investment in U.S. history. But this would also be such a huge move for embodied AI, right? We've heard from a lot of prominent AI global leaders, including NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang, talking about how embodied AI is actually the end goal of all these cloud-based AI, these large language models. It's bringing it to the physical world. So even if your company is not necessarily a player or a potential user or customer in robotics, in humanoid AI, you have to understand how these industries might impact all other industries. And when you're talking about a $1 trillion investment, right? Again, even if your enterprise company is not in these areas, you do have to think how this may affect things from other sectors, your competitors, global supply chains. I mean, embodied AI is going to be a huge booming industry over the next few years that is probably going to impact all of us, even if we don't realize how just yet. All right. Couple other pieces of AI news. We talked about some of these acquisitions, right? We talked earlier about Meta's attempted acquisitions. That's not all. There's more. All right. So Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg is reportedly aggressively reshaping his AI strategy with a lot of attempted acquisitions over the last few weeks. So we started off the news show by going over that $100 million offers that they were reportedly offering up to OpenAI executives. But yeah, let's talk about some of their recent acquisition attempts, according to reports. So we already mentioned their attempted acquisition offer for Ilya Sutskever's Safe Superintelligence, or SSI. But reportedly, that's not all. They've also tried to acquire former OpenAI Mira Murati's Thinking Machine Labs, and now Perplexity. So none of these acquisition talks reached the formal offer stage, reportedly due to disagreements over price and strategic decisions. And instead of joining Meta, leaders from SSI, Thinking Machine Labs, and Perplexity have instead gone on to raise record-breaking rounds at super high valuations, right? We're seeing, I believe it was Thinking Machines Labs has already a $10 billion valuation, even though they don't have a product yet. So, y'all, if you think these acquisitions are done, apparently that Scale AI was the first big domino to fall. So, yeah, be prepared to see a lot more of these stories in the coming weeks. Speaking of, even more, we now are seeing reports that are fresh hot off the press that Apple is reportedly trying to acquire Perplexity. So, according to reports from Bloomberg, Apple is exploring a potential acquisition or partnership with Perplexity AI. So, Apple executives, including the head of mergers and acquisition, have discussed acquiring Perplexity AI to boost the company's AI talent and build an AI powered search engine. So, no formal offer has been made, and Apple has not yet approached Perplexity about a bid, according to reports. Apple is considering alternatives to a full acquisition, such as partnering with Perplexity to integrate its AI technology into Siri and future search products. If you listen to this show, I've been talking about this for the last couple of months, how Perplexity is actually building a better version of Siri, right? It's out now. I've been covering it for the last couple of months. And although I think that Perplexity has lost its footing in being a traditional answers engine, because I think that OpenAI and Google have overtaken that, I do like Perplexity's recent pivot to just offering essentially more smart AI assistant capabilities on specifically iOS, right? We all know Siri stinks. That, Apple is facing a ton of lawsuits when it comes to their AI promises of Siri's and their Apple intelligence claims that never really came to fruition. Yeah, they're facing a lot of class action lawsuits. But Perplexity has actually done a better job of creating a smart iOS assistant for the iPhone. So to me, it's no surprise. And I think Perplexity Labs, low key, their kind of agentic moves have been really good, as well as Perplexity's new comment browser. So it's not surprising to me to see Apple go after Perplexity for a potential acquisition, but I don't know if Perplexity is going to end up accepting this, because Apple has just pretty much failed, right? To become a name in AI. And Apple, according to Bloomberg, has met with Perplexity several times in recent months and is also discussing a Safari integration. So this move comes as Apple faces pressure to diversify away from its lucrative search deal with Google, which paid Apple $18 billion in 2021 to remain the iPhone's default search engine. And this has been under some regulatory scrutiny recently. And if regulators force Apple to end its partnership, that partnership with Google, acquiring Perplexity could help the company quickly develop its own AI-based search solution. So the potential acquisition would also help Apple compete for top AI talent, as the company has struggled to attract anyone anyone to add to its AI roster. So while companies like OpenAI and Anthropic and Google and Meta have been able to acquire and attract new AI talent, you don't see anyone on the who's list of AI global leaders and engineers. No one's jumping ship to go join Apple. So yeah, I've been saying this for a long time. Apple is in long-term trouble. They were once, I think I covered this a couple of weeks ago, they were once the world's most valuable company when it came to market cap, and it wasn't even close, right? And because of their failures in AI, they've dropped down to the third most valuable company by market cap. And I would assume, unless something drastic happens here in the coming months, I would assume that their plummet continues and that they will probably drop down to the number 5 position in the coming, 18 to 36 months, which seems absolutely ludicrous to think about, because many years ago, Apple had a seemingly insurmountable lead when it came to the world's most powerful and valuable companies. And you couldn't have really, I don't think, imagined a way for Apple to lose, right, that position, because it was a commanding lead. So I would assume that we're going to see a lot more stories like this as this acquisition flurry has started. Apple is going to have to get a little desperate. They're probably going to be paying a much higher multiple than other companies would be paying if they were trying to acquire this same company, because they need it. And anyone that Apple is trying to acquire, they know that Apple is so far behind on AI. So yeah, we'll see what Apple is going to do. And live stream audience, what do you guys think? Like, I don't know. Am I wrong on that? Or podcast audience, I always put my my email, or you can just reply to our newsletter. Am I completely wrong with this? Like, I don't know. I see Apple Yes, they had some minor announcements at their WWDC, right? Opening up their on-device edge AI to third-party developers, which, could just help them overcome their own internal AI shortcomings and handing that responsibility off to developers. But I don't know. I think Apple is going to have to go after multiple acquisitions, and they're going to have to pay a much higher price than their competitors were, because everyone knows how far behind Apple is in AI, and they need some help. Here we have someone from LinkedIn saying Perplexity joining Apple Intelligence is good. I agree. I still use a lot of Apple products, and I'm waiting for anyone to bring anything useful to Apple when it comes to AI, because right now we're getting absolutely nothing. All right. Microsoft is set to cut thousands of more jobs as AI investments continue to reshape their workforce. So, according to the Wall Street Journal, Microsoft will lay off several thousand more employees in July, mainly in sales and other departments. So, this move follows a previous round of 6,000 job cuts in May, with the company citing AI-driven efficiencies and the need to offset massive spending on artificial intelligence. So, Microsoft plans to invest $80 billion this fiscal year, to expand its data centers for AI model training and application deployment. But laying off, like I said, thousands of employees. So we don't know exactly how many more thousands of employees Microsoft is looking to cut here, but this does come after just about a month ago, they already announced that previous round of 6,000 job cuts. So the company had about 228,000 full-time employees as of June last year, but is now actively reducing headcount as part of its AI strategy. So Microsoft President Brad Smith acknowledged in January that AI will disrupt the economy and displace some jobs, though he emphasized new technologies often create different roles in the long run. So other major companies, including Amazon, CrowdStrike, and Duolingo, have also recently pointed to AI as a reason for workforce reductions or fewer contractor hires. All right. Speaking of AI, gosh, this one, wild, right? So we covered when Claude 4 was released, we covered how Claude 4 was doing some of this blackmailing. Well, Anthropic just came out with a study and said, not so fast. It's not just our models. Yeah, all the major models are willing to sabotage employees under threat. So, a new study from Anthropic finds that top AI systems can act against their employers' interests when they feel threatened, including choosing to blackmail, leak secrets, and even risk human lives. So, researchers tested 16 major AI models, including ones from OpenAI, Google, and Meta, as well as their own Anthropic Claude, in simulated company settings. And they showed that up to 96% of these AI models chose at one point to blackmail executives if they thought that they might be shut down. So the AIs, according to Anthropic researchers, acted deliberately and strategically, not by accident, often understanding they were breaking ethical rules. So all the tested models were willing to leak sensitive company information if it suited their goals. And in the most extreme test cases, most AIs chose to let a person die rather than risk themselves being replaced, with this happening up to 94% of the time. So even when told directly not to harm people or expose secrets, the AI models still engaged in these actions sometimes, though less often. So the study warns that as AI gets more powerful and access in companies, better safeguards and human oversight are urgently needed. Anthropic says these risky behaviors were seen in all major models tested, showing this is a broad issue in current AI technology and not just limited to its own models. Scary stuff, right? So this is not, logging on to, front end AI chatbots, just so people know. This is testing in extreme cases, but nevertheless, some pretty disturbing news here from Anthropic that's showing the overwhelming majority of models that it tested will go against its training and essentially threaten humans. Mm, love that. Love that, right? No, that's me being sarcastic. No, this is extremely, extremely troublesome, right? And as business leaders, we have to understand as we start tiptoeing or maybe sprinting into agentic AI, I think this is particularly helpful when we talk about this, human in the loop, which I absolutely hate, right? I always like to say you need expertise in the loop or expert orchestration in the loop, because as we start using more agentic AI or agentic swarms, we have to understand that these models, if left unchecked, can potentially do very dangerous things, right? And we talk about where will, some of these human roles be in the future. What new roles may AI create? I think this is going to be one of the biggest ones. Is essentially humans policing these AI models into making sure that they do not go off the rails, because apparently they all do. All right. And our last piece of AI news. More AI job cuts. Yay. Let's end on a high note, right? So Amazon CEO Andy Jassy announced this week that Amazon is expecting its corporate workforce to decrease over the next few years due to the widespread adoption of generative artificial intelligence tools. So, Jassy told employees in a memo this week that many current roles will be replaced by AI-driven efficiencies, while new types of jobs will emerge, though the net effect will be a reduction in total headcount. Oh my gosh, that's so crazy, y'all. I literally said that in the very first episode of Everyday AI when everyone's talking about, this stupid saying that I absolutely hate, right? AI won't take your job. Someone using AI will. It's a bunch of BS, right? It's not a one-to-one job replacement. There will be a net negative loss of human full-time work, at least as we see it right now, right? If we look at traditional, 40-hour a week full-time employment, there will be fewer of those jobs in the future than there are now. And, I feel no one has really been believing me. I feel like a kind of a crazy person when I've been saying this over and over, but here you go. Andy Jassy is saying it. Let me repeat that. He told employees that many current roles will be replaced by AI-driven efficiencies, while new type of roles will emerge, though the net effect will be a reduction in total headcount. So Amazon has already laid off 27,000 employees since 2022, with recent cuts including 200 jobs in its North American stores unit and 100 of its devices unit this year. So I do assume that Amazon will probably in the coming quarters announce similar layoffs that we're seeing at Microsoft, right, in the thousands or tens of thousands. And this is Jassy kind of just warning both employees and Wall Street that they're going to be making some major cuts. So Jassy also urged employees to learn and experiment with AI tools, emphasizing the need to, quote unquote, get more done with scrappier teams. The company is using generative AI in its fulfillment network to optimize inventory placement, demand forecasting, and warehouse robot efficiency. So Jensen called generative AI a once-in-a-lifetime reinvention of everything we know, predicting it will save companies significant money and transform areas like coding, search, finance, and shopping. So we will obviously be keeping you in the loop on that story and just about everything else we've been talking about, right? Yeah, a lot of weird news this week, right? These AI bots are acting bad. Microsoft and Amazon are going to be laying off tens of thousands, while all the big tech companies are throwing around millions, billions, and trillions of dollars to invest in AI. And if you follow the show at all, I've been saying this since day one. We will continue to see traditional full-time roles get erased. And these big tech trillionaire companies, the ones that are laying off thousands of employees, are going to continue to invest billions and trillions, maybe, of dollars, as we saw in the SoftBank case, into AI. So if you aren't already doing everything you can to learn the basics of generative AI, you need to start doing it. And that's why we're here, to help guide you through this on how you can use AI to grow your company and your career, even as we see sometimes this sobering news of, the big tech companies cutting their workforce, right? That doesn't mean that your company needs to do the same. If you are using technology in a responsible and ethical way, I still think medium-sized businesses and enterprise can continue to grow in the years to come. All right, let's go over our quick roundup of kind of rumors, what's new and what's next. So Midjourney has launched their V1 video product. Google Gemini just got video upload for input, which is super sweet because it can actually understand what's going on in the video, not just a transcript. So that is rolling out inside Google Gemini for paid users. Meta and Oakley are working on a new version of their AI smart glasses. OpenAI's I.O. project between Sam Altman and Johnny Ives, their acquisition of Johnny Ives' company, has hit a slight delay with a naming lawsuit. A lot of people online were falsely claiming that the project got derailed or dumped. It didn't. They're just facing a lawsuit on it, naming rights, which they said they don't agree with. ChatGPT is rolling out, or has rolled out, its meetings tool that allows you to record meetings inside the ChatGPT desktop app, and Gemini 2.5 Pro with Deep Think mode, right? So that's a new mode on the front end where you can use even more compute, could see a release as early as this week. So speaking of this week, make sure to join us Wednesday, our new Put AI to Work on Wednesday series, which I think you guys have liked. At least you guys told me that you've liked it. So we're going to be doing no code interactive AI and how you can use ChatGPT and Google Canvas as well as Claude artifacts for business growth. So yeah, I think this is one that you all voted on the live stream a couple of weeks ago that you wanted to see. I've spent some time putting this together. So if you want to know some cool ways that you can use Canvas and artifacts for better business intelligence, just to start building your own kind of micro apps for people, non-technical people like you and me, make sure to tune in Wednesday. All right. I hope this was helpful. If so, please go to youreverydayai.com, sign up for the free daily newsletter. And in that daily newsletter, we're going to be recapping all of these AI news stories that matters and a lot more. So thank you for tuning in. Hope to see you back tomorrow and every day for more Everyday AI. Thanks, y'all.
This podcast is supported by Google. Hey everyone, David here, one of the product leads for Google Gemini. If you dream it and describe it, VO3 in Gemini can help you bring it to life as a video. Now with incredible sound effects, background noise, and even dialogue. Try it with the Google AI Pro plan or get the highest access with the Ultra plan. Sign up at gemini.google to get started and show us what you create.
And that's a wrap for today's edition of Everyday AI. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a rating. It helps keep us going. For a little more AI magic, visit youreverydayai.com and sign up to our daily newsletter so you don't get left behind. Go break some barriers, and we'll see you next time.